Um, my name is Vicky, and I'm a director of LV Rehabilitation, and I'm lead a PD Warrior program through our service. And one of our attendees who's joining me today has very kindly agreed to share her exciting journey and story about exercise. So I'm going to introduce you to Anne. So, and let Anne just tell us a little bit about your exercise journey, Anne, if you can.
Oh, okay. Well, before I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I didn't really do any exercise at all. I just occasionally did a sort of 20-minute amble in the countryside, and that was about it. And then obviously I joined Warriors, and I found it really helpful. And for lots of reasons, I just felt like I was doing something proactive, and it was just nice being in a group. And also because Vicky's told us the benefits of exercise, it just makes you feel like you're doing something. But I definitely wasn't, I was never anybody that did extra exercise at all. But then when lockdown happened and I was furloughed, I was just speaking to one of my old friends who was much fitter than me, but she said to me that she'd started doing this app called Couch to 5K. And I just thought to myself, well, I've got nothing particular to do. I could benefit from being a bit fitter, so I'll give it a go, basically. And this is I am somebody that had never run. I hadn't broken into a trot since I was 18, I don't think. I definitely wasn't into running, but I thought, well, just why not give it a go? And so I downloaded the app and just started, and it's a 9-week program. And it just cumulatively increases the periods of time that you run for. So week 1, you run for 60 seconds, then you walk for 90 seconds, and you repeat that 8 times. And then it just, each week, it just gradually builds up the amount of time you run and in comparison to the amount of time you walk. And I have to say, I mean, at the beginning, week 1, I thought 60 seconds, I can't do that. But I just thought, well, come on, just try. And I was absolutely gasping with exertion and finding it really hard. But I don't know, I've just got to do it. I've got nothing to lose. I've just got to keep doing it. And then as the weeks went by, I just gradually found it a bit easier. And I just felt more motivated because I was beginning to feel better afterwards. And it was just such a great feeling to feel that I was actually doing it. At the beginning, my husband came with me sometimes, but I had to stop him coming because he kept saying, he's like, keep going. But I just found that really irritating, to be honest. So I'd rather do it on my own and just get in a little sort of bubble of myself. So I definitely find it easier just doing it on my own. So I just take my phone with me, turn it on, and just do it. And then so about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I completed the program, but I just found I was slow. So I can run for 30 minutes now, but I'm just very slow. So you're supposed to be able to run 5K in 30 minutes, but I can only do 4K in 30 minutes. So now I'm doing the 30 minutes twice a week, but I've restarted the program. So I've gone back to week 1 and I'm just going faster now. And it's amazing. I am so much faster than I was when I started out on the thing. At the beginning, I was like walking pace, whereas now I am much faster. So it is quite nice to feel I must be fitter, presumably.
Yeah, and have you noticed anything?
That's about it, really. I just feel. Have I noticed any what? Sorry.
Have you noticed anything in terms of its effects on, like, how you feel in terms of like your Parkinson's, or I know some people worry about fatigue.
Well, to be honest, I feel less tired. Strangely, there was 1 week where it was probably on about week 6. And I did feel absolutely exhausted. And so I almost did nothing for about 2 days after one of the runs. But having got to where I am now, I would definitely say I feel less tired than I normally do. Because normally I do feel quite tired a lot of the time. But I just definitely feel more energetic. So that's really nice, actually. I mean, the other thing I found is I have to do it the first thing I do in the morning. So if I leave it later in the day, I just can't do it. I just don't feel like doing it. But if I do it first thing, and then it seems to sort of set me up for the day somehow. So in general, I mean, there are days when I feel really tired and I just rest for perhaps an extra day. But in general, I feel less tired, I'd say.
And how are you finding, now you're getting fitter, how do you find that's like helping you with, because obviously you're continuing to do the Warrior program in terms of the group sessions and some of that work. How are you finding it benefiting that as well at all?
I don't know really. I mean, I always feel that Find Warrior is quite hard, and it's probably a different sort of exercise, isn't it? But I probably feel that I recover more quickly after each Warrior session, whereas in the past I felt really tired afterwards. But yeah, I think my recovery is quicker somehow.
Yeah.
And it's also just because the running is just aerobic exercise, it's not sort of stretching or anything like that. So it's nice to have a different sort of exercise. Whereas the Warriors, it makes me feel like it's making me a bit more flexible and powerful. So it's just nice having the combined different sorts of things to do.
And that's really important. That's sort of the really important, I think, to get across is the fact that, you know, the Warriors, you know, really addresses those impairment specific, the power, the amplitude. But we shouldn't forget, we also need to continue to work on the cardiovascular side and the aerobic fitness. And the two, it's brilliant that the two, you know, you can use the two hand in hand sort of thing and continue with that. What would you say was the big thing that made you go, I have got to up my exercise? Like, what was it that suddenly made you? Because knowing when we first met, you were like, look, I'm not a gym bunny. I've never been massively into exercise, but I appreciate I've got to give this a go. Now look where we are, which is brilliant.
I think it was a combination. I think a few months ago you'd sent us a webinar. I think it was from America, and it was talking about the benefit of exercise. And it had there was a doctor on it who had got Parkinson's herself. She'd had it for 10 years, and she just spoke about doing exercise and that she ran every morning. And she'd said that after 2 years, after quite a long period of time, she'd found that she could reduce her medication. And so it kind of, I was mulling that away in the back of my mind. I just kind of thought, it obviously is. I think, it was that webinar and other bits of research that you'd sent us. So I think I just thought, well, clearly exercise is really good for Parkinson's. And also you need to keep doing it. So I think that was in the back of my mind. And I think this friend telling me about this Couch to 5K and then having more time because I'm furthered. I think it was a sort of a combination of knowing it would be good for me and then this friend sort of saying, come on, you do it too, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a positive that you can take out of lockdown is the fact it's given people time to kind of reevaluate things and adjust and say, okay, look, now and then hopefully when things return more to normal, it's then, okay, I've got to try and keep this. It's important. How do I now keep it in my life so I keep addressing it? Yes,
definitely.
And that's the next challenge.
I know, that is the next challenge, but I think I've just realised if I have a routine about it. Oh God, the dog's barking.
It's okay, don't worry.
Betty, stop it. Come here. I think for me, everybody's different, obviously, but I'm not in general a particularly disciplined person, I don't think. And so I've just realised if I have a routine, that makes a big difference. So I just say, right, first thing in the morning, that's the first thing I've got to do after a cup of coffee, and just do it. And I definitely, also I just try not to think about it too much. Even though I'm enjoying it and feel better, I still find that if I think to myself, right, when you wake up, you've got to do it, it puts me off. But if I don't think about it too much, but just subtly know that is what I'm doing, I'm just getting up and putting my clothes on and off I'm going. And it's just a really nice feeling when I've done it as well. And I mean, there have been some weeks where I found it really, really hard, but I just thought, no, just keep going. And
And what would your message be to anybody out there who has got Parkinson's and is finding starting exercise difficult? Is there anything that you would suggest that they could?
I think it would be just start. I mean, if I can do it, anyone can do it because I wasn't fit. But I think the other thing is just start in really small ways, because certainly when I started the Couch to 5K, I was running very, very slowly. It was just walking pace. But I just thought it doesn't matter how slowly I'm going. The fact is I am running. And so, just give yourself little targets, I would say. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just take it gradually. And there's no rush. You haven't got to do it in a particular time frame. Just gradually do it, and just each time just push yourself a little bit more, perhaps. But yeah, don't overwhelm yourself with thinking you've got to do at a certain speed or anything like that.
Yeah, I think setting realistic goals, isn't it? That's achievable,
yeah.
and then taking it in small
just
chunks.
take it in small chunks, because anything's good, and it just gradually builds up, and then suddenly you find you've done it.
Yeah, brilliant.
But I mean, certainly, sorry.
I was going to say, when's your first park run?
Well, actually, my daughter has said, let's do a park run or a 5K sometime in the autumn. She lives
Brilliant.
So that's what I'm aiming at.
Excellent. So it was a nice goal.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well done. I've got to say, full marks to you, and well done. And I hope this can inspire other people to kind of follow a similar path and benefit as a result. So thank you.